What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners for today's 6-game NBA main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com and presented by SuperDraft. It's obviously a very somber mood here in Los Angeles with the loss of Kobe Bryant over the weekend, as well as his daughter Gigi. And Kobe, one of the most iconic and memorable players for this city, as well as of any generation and any sport. So we just got to keep it going for today's video, so please hit the like button. And also, if you want your chance to win a free month of Awesemo Plus, courtesy of SuperDraft, like this video and comment your top value play according to Draftkings salaries down below. Nobody gets Josh Hart correctly on Friday, but we only have so much time on this earth, so I guess get back on track today. And right now, please hit the like button and comment your top value play down below. But even in moments like this, the show goes on, so let's get right into our first corner of the top owned plays. And Chris Clemens in a game at Utah, in a game where there's 104.5 implied points for Houston. Clemens is 55% expected ownership on Draftkings, while he's just 2% on FanDuel. Clemens is at minimum prices industry-wide with a 1.3 fantasy point per minute average in court time without Russell Westbrook and James Harden, but his minutes are a risk if he doesn't pick up the start, and he's also not much of an option if Harden sneaks his way back into the lineup. Another top-owned play today is the Aaron Fox in a game at Minnesota, where there's 111.3 implied points for Sacramento. Fox is 27% expected ownership on Draftkings, while he has 49% on FanDuel. Fox had a 41% usage rate with Buddy Hield moved to the bench last game, and he could have massive upside in a potentially high-paced game at Minnesota with one of the highest combined totals on the slate. And another top-owned play today looks like Austin Rivers in that game at Utah, where there's 104.5 implied points for Houston. Rivers is 55% expected ownership on Draftkings, while he has 19% on FanDuel. Rivers is cheap and would stand to see a boost if Harden is sidelined alongside Russell Westbrook today, with a more secure role than Clemens likely has. And now for our next corner, here's what looks like the top value plays on the slate, starting with Eric Gordon in that game at Utah, where there's 104.5 implied points for Houston. Gordon averages 1.4 fantasy points per minute with 35% usage over the last 2 years, with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Chris Paul off the court, with a stellar price on FanDuel and a Draftkings price that's only playable at volume if Harden is out. Another top value today looks like Jacob Poeltl in a game at Chicago. There was 108.3 implied points for San Antonio. Poeltl projects for 24 minutes with LaMarcus Aldridge sidelined, with a 1 fantasy point per minute average in court time without him, and a strong matchup against Chicago with their lack of competent bigs available. And our last top value play today looks like Thaddeus Young in that game versus San Antonio, where there's 106.3 implied points for Chicago. Thad has played 29 and 35 minutes since Lauri Markkanen went out, and his price remains reasonable, albeit less of a necessity on a night that should have a ton of value to choose from. And now for our next corner, here are some other core plays on the slate that I'm looking at, starting with Karl-Anthony Towns in that game versus Sacramento, where there's 114.3 implied points for Minnesota. Towns has 64.5 fantasy points over the weekend, where the most he's had since return from injury, and Sacramento will have nobody to stop him even if they give Dwayne Dedmon extended run. Another big man core play looks like Andre Drummond in a game versus Cleveland, where there's 113 implied points for Detroit. Drummond played 41 minutes including overtime in his return to the lineup, and he remains at a very solid price in a matchup versus Cleveland, where he's averaged 61 fantasy points in 3 regular season games this year. And another core play with LaMarcus Aldridge out is DeMar DeRozan in that game at Chicago, where there's 108.3 implied points for San Antonio. DeRozan averages 1.3 fantasy points per minute with 32% usage when LaMarcus Aldridge is off the court. While Chicago's pace and decent defense are some hurdles, you should get decent opportunity to excel. And now for our last corner, here are some lower owned dart throws that I'm looking at, starting with Reggie Jackson in that game versus Cleveland, where there's 113 implied points for Detroit. Reggie rested in Detroit's back-to-back, but he's had 30.75 and 36.75 fantasy points in his 2 games since returning to the lineup, with over 31% usage and a cheap price that allows him some upside. A higher priced lower owned dart throw that I would look at is Zach LaVine in a game versus San Antonio, where there's 106.3 implied points for Chicago. LaVine's price is up insanely high after a 72.5 fantasy point day versus Cleveland over the weekend, but he's thrived in lower paced matchups with bad defenses, and San Antonio fits the bill with their 110 defensive rating. And my last lower owned dart throw is Aaron Gordon in a game at Miami, where there's 102.8 implied points for Orlando. This game will go largely overlooked with 2 good defenses and a slate low 210.5 combined total, while Gordon is at a decent price with his size and athleticism, a decent counter to Miami in a matchup that saw him top 50 fantasy points twice against them last season. So that's what it looks like so far for today's slate. So right now, please hit that like button. If you want your chance to win a free month of Awesemo Plus courtesy of SuperDraft, like this video and comment your top value play according to Draftkings salaries down below. If you haven't checked out SuperDraft, you should today with the promo code Awesemo to get yourself $20 with a deposit of $100 or more. We'll be doing a special SuperDraft show later today after Live Before Lock. Their slate starts a half hour later, so tune in then, but also check it out right now at superdraft.io or download SuperDraft in the App Store and use that promo code Awesemo to get yourself $20 with a deposit of $100 or more. more. And for the rest of this week, we still have our Super Bowl deal going where you can use this promo code LIV, Super Bowl 54 coming up. If you use that promo code LIV, get yourself 30 days of an all-access premium pass, all the data we have for just $54. So go right now to awesemo.com/join and use that promo code LIV for 30 days for $54. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I tweeted out some Kobe stuff as well as my own personal podcast over the weekend. But either way, just go follow me right now on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I'll be back on Live Before Lock later today with the Chubster Josh Engelman, so tune in then. Of course, I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for another Four Corners. So thank you guys for watching and tolerating my low energy, because I don't know how to do this when an important person in a lot of our lives goes. But keep the energy up, think positive thoughts, and I'll see you guys again later tonight. So enjoy and good luck.